So good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Santa Paula City Council this Wednesday, February 18th, 2026, 6:30 p.m. First item on our agenda is our invocation. If you could stand if you're able to. And we have Deacon Al Galim.
Mr. Mayor, let us pray. Heavenly Creator, we gather here to thank you and humbly ask for your continued blessing on our community. Guide us by your wisdom and by the grace given by the Holy Spirit so that we may be unified in our desires and plans for the betterment of our community. We thank you as we celebrate our city's 100th anniversary and our country's 250th anniversary. We look to the future with your sure guidance of your hand. Today we celebrate the season of Lent. Many of our community have received ashes on their forehead, a sign of repentance that will lead us with faith and hope to the Easter season. We thank you for the recent gift of rain that will renew and reinvigorate our countryside. During this Lenten season, help us to share our blessings with those in need. Help us to see our Lord in the poor and the marginalized and respond with love and kindness. And we remind ourselves that we may never grow weary of doing what is right. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon Al Galim. Councilmember Chavez, would you lead us in the flag salute?
Sure. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you please do a roll call?
Councilmember Chavez?
Here.
Councilmember Cornejo?
Here.
Vice Mayor Crosswhite?
Here.
Mayor Juarez?
Here.
And Councilmember Ornelas is absent this evening.
Thank you. Monica Castillo, our city attorney, do you have a closed session report?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, council recessed in a closed session to discuss item 5A on the special agenda. The item is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D1, Fred and Elaine Malzacher Revocable Trust versus the City of Santa Paula. There are no reportable actions taken this evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Okay, we move on next to item 5, public comment. We'll have first Marion Krause, followed by Liliana De Haro, and 3 minutes each. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Just a couple of quick things that I wanted to comment on. First of all, an item that is on your agenda, the legislative platform. I personally sent it to Santa Clara Valley Together and also to the Hearts Without Borders Committee, and the positive comments came back, no negative comments. I wanted to personally thank you for considering these additions to the platform. I think that they're things that will help the community of Santa Paula and will serve the city properly. So thank you for that. The other item I just want to mention, I think you've probably already received some information about license plate readers. I know the city got license plate cameras a couple of years ago, and at least one of those systems, the FOCS system, I think it's called, it has their data open, and ICE is using it to track people. Some cities are now taking action to prevent that from happening, and I wanted to urge you to look into that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have Liana De Haro, followed by Richard Rudman.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liana De Haro. I'm a student at Santa Paula High School. I'm here today to discuss my Congress forum. This forum is about addressing your questions and concerns and sharing my vision and plans for our community. This event will be held at Casa de Mexicana on February 24th. I want to ensure that everyone's voices are heard and that we can work together to create a better future to Santa Paula. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Next, we have Richard Rudman. He's our final speaker, but if anybody else would like to speak, please turn in a public comment card, please.
Yes, that's me. Mayor Juarez, Vice Mayor Crosswhite, Council, City staff, and fellow Santa Paulans. I'm Richard Rudman, tonight representing both the Chamber of Commerce and the Aviation Museum of Santa Paula to let you know about saving the dates this month for upcoming events of interest. For the Chamber, tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Thursday, February 19th, we are partnering with the Ag Museum on Railroad Street for a mixer. Whether you own a business or not, our mixers are fun events where you can meet your neighbors, enjoy various beverages and such, and learn more about our wonderful Ag Museum. On Thursday, February 26th at 9 a.m., please join us at the Glen Tavern Inn for our bi-monthly business roundtable that we host in cooperation with the city. If you don't already know about the roundtables, they're a great opportunity to voice your views on business issues and hear updates from the city leadership on issues that concern us all, like public safety, business, and more. Now over to the Aviation Museum. On first Sunday, March 1st, the Aviation Museum of Santa Paula is open to the public from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Admission is free to see classic aircraft, take a shuttle tour of the airport, and visit our gift shop. If you have potential pilots age 8 to 17 in your family, you can sign them up for a free flight to give your young people their first experience in a small aircraft. See you there for lots of fun for the whole family. To sign up for the free flight, send an email to the letters Y followed by the word Eagles, no space, at eaa.org, or see us at the Santa Paula Airport on March 1st on first Sunday and register. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rudman. Okay, we'll move on to item number 6, presentation, starting with 6A, Police Department Explorers Chandler Tactical Competition, and this is Chief Don Aguilar.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members, and our viewing audience tonight. Nothing makes me more happy than to come to a council meeting for a presentation to honor our young men and women on the police department, our law enforcement explorers from Post 2350. This past January, on the weekend of January 17 and 18, our explorers, along with our advisors, made the trip along with myself to Chandler, Arizona to participate and support them in their experience at the Chandler National Tactical Competition. This is inclusive of about 42 other law enforcement explorer posts from across the country, namely from the state of California, Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado. And this National Tactical Competition includes scenario-based assessment and rating of explorers' participation in these individual events. And some of the individual events are crisis negotiations, hostage rescue, down to officer rescue, incident command system planning, critical incidents, high-risk vehicle stop, tactical emergency medical support, team tactics, wilderness marksmanship, pistol shoot, SWAT fitness challenge, and many other rated events. And so the competition is fierce. It's 2 days of intense preparation and participation, and also it's team building as the explorers get to go on the trip to have dinner with each other, to plan, and have some downtime to also enjoy the trip as well. So since I've been here, it's been my philosophy, along with our explorer advisors and our 2 commanders, to help further the exposure and experience of these young men and women to kind of step outside of the box and try and better themselves, and they have not disappointed in this event. We started going to this event in 2023, where we third place for an unknown alarm response for our team that went that year. In 2025, we also placed a first place in the Incident Command System Critical Incident Exercise, and also third place in the Officer Obstacle Course. And I'm very proud this year to report to you that in this year's event in January on Martin Luther King weekend, our explorers were recognized for a first place award in the pistol shoot and a second place award as a group for the wilderness marksmanship. And so I'm proud here to honor them along with our staff, and I know our staff, sworn and professional staff, and our other volunteer advisors and advisors are watching on TV tonight. So I want to express my congratulations to our explorers for another great, fantastic performance. Every year we have gone to Chandler, we have come back with recognition and achievement, and moreover, life skills and preparation for future for all of them, whether it be in law enforcement or any other facet or career. So I would like to thank the council for your ongoing support of our explorers every year that we go to Chandler, and every year we seem to do better and better and prepare throughout the year. And I can tell you during the year, every Tuesday, these explorers meet with their advisors under the mentorship of their advisors, and they practice not just, they may go on ride-alongs, but they're here practicing for these scenarios that could ultimately become reality if they pursued a career as an officer. So I applaud them for their preparation, their achievement, and their success and how they perform under some levels of duress at these Chandler tactical competitions. So tonight, if the explorers, could you just stand up in your chairs there? Please stand, the explorers. Tonight, all of them, well, let's give them a round of applause, yes. Thank you. Tonight I have Explorer Kevin Navarrete, Francisco Ramos, and also Rafael along with them, our senior explorer who helped supervise along the way, and our advisors as well. I have Senior Officer Yvette Solis is here, and also our volunteer advisor who is a retired Ventura County Sheriff's Deputy, Juan Olmos, and we have other advisors who spend time throughout the year with them. And so I just want to congratulate them, and I'll invite Advisor Juan Olmos up here for a couple of comments if you would like to.
Thank you, Chief. Council members, Mr. Mayor, thank you for inviting us here this evening. I've been involved with the Explorer program for roughly 14 years, and I can say that to the best of my knowledge, I've never heard of an Explorer post, a law enforcement Explorer post, be on the agenda of anybody's city council meeting until I got to the Santa Paula Explorer post. And I tell the kids that it is a tremendous honor because in my previous career, I wasn't even called up to the sheriff's office to be recognized for our achievements there. So thank you very much for having us here this evening.
Thank you, Advisor Olmos.
Thank you, Juan. Forgive me, our other advisor is sitting behind, I forgot, he's in the background here, Community Service Officer Juan Navarrete, who is also an explorer. So congratulations to all of our advisors, too, for taking care of our young men and women and showing them some really, really positive mentorship. Mayor?
Would either of you like to come up and say anything? The advisors, I'm sorry, the advisors? Okay, very good. But thank you for all your leadership and hard work. Thank you. We do have two certificates. One is for Francisco Ramos, and the other is for the Explorer Post. And I'd like to read. They're both identical except for the awardee. So let me read them. Certificate of recognition. In recognition of your participation and achievement in the National Chandler Tactical Competition on January 17th and 18th, 2026 in Chandler, Arizona, your inspirational efforts continue to play a vital role in the development of a successful youth law enforcement volunteer program and developing young men and women to prepare for challenging and rewarding careers in public safety. Thank you for your commitment in volunteerism and proudly representing our community. I, Carlos Juarez, Mayor of the City of Santa Paula, and on behalf of the City Council and the community of the City of Santa Paula, praise and recognize Francisco Ramos, Santa Paula Police Department Explorer Post 2350, Chandler Tactical Competition, first place, pistol shoot male, Santa Paula, California, Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. Congratulations. And the other certificate is identical, except this one is awarded to the Santa Paula Police Department Explorer Post 2350 Chandler Tactical Competition, second place award Wilderness Marksmanship, Santa Paula, California, Wednesday, February 18, 2026. Congratulations. I'd like to invite the council to come down. We're very supportive of the police department and, of course, the Explorers, to personally congratulate you and take a photo with you. Oh, we're going to hand it to the...
Perfect. Okay. I'll take one more for good measure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Are they going to stay here the entire night or sneak out during the break? All right, congratulations. Next, we move on to 6B, recognition of the 2025 Mel L. Howery Shining Star Award recipient. This will be Director Barnes from the Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. I'd like to invite Mr. Montalongo to come up and join me at the podium if he would. For the past 6 years, we've recognized an employee in the Parks and Recreation Department with an award that's been named the Mel L. Howery Shining Star Award. So I'm going to read a little bit of what I've prepared and then read a little something about Martine that also went into his nomination for this award. So the Mel L. Howery Shining Star Award is named in honor of the city's first Parks and Recreation Director, Mel L. Howery, who faithfully served this community for 26 years. His leadership, vision, and commitment laid the foundation for the strong and vibrant Parks and Recreation programs we continue to provide today. Since 2020, the Parks and Recreation Department has proudly presented this award annually to recognize exceptional staff members who embody the spirit of service, professionalism, and dedication that Mr. Howery exemplified. Both full-time and part-time employees are eligible, and recipients are nominated by their peers, making this recognition especially meaningful as it reflects the respect and admiration of fellow team members. This year, it is my honor to announce that the recipient of the Mel L. Howery Shining Star Award is Martine Montalongo. Martine serves as our lead facilities maintenance worker, has been with us for 14 years with the city. I'm especially thankful for him. He got here when I got here and was very helpful with the transition and has been nothing but stellar in his performance and his commitment to the city. I'd like to take a few moments to share more about Martine and the outstanding contributions he has made to our department and read something to you that was reflected in his nomination, again, that comes from his peers. Martine Montalongo is truly deserving of the Shining Star Award in recognition of his exceptional leadership, professionalism, and dedication to the city of Santa Paula. Martine is one of our most dependable and trusted team members, consistently setting the standard through his strong work ethic, positive attitude, and commitment to safety. He takes initiative daily, seeking ways to improve operations, increase productivity, and reduce costs for the city. Martine continually looks for opportunities to perform work in-house whenever possible, helping the department avoid unnecessary contractor expenses while ensuring projects are completed efficiently, and to a high standard. He is a respected leader among his peers, someone staff genuinely enjoy working alongside, and a true team player who puts the city first. His steady presence, problem-solving mindset, and pride in his work make him an invaluable asset to our department and our community. And I will point out the lights that you see on Main Street are Martin's work. He installed those himself and will continue to maintain those. And, you know, just to point out his commitment, it's hard to really evaluate lighting during the day, right? But, you know, I think I sent out a message like, hey, let's go look at him at night. And Martin doesn't even bat an eye. See you there at 6, see you there at 6:30, and we walk Main Street in the evening to look at the lights, and he takes pride in his work. He was also part of the crew that on Christmas Eve was out here and put in 9 or 10 hours on Christmas Eve when we had that rainstorm and those high winds, and we had some downed trees and some issues at a facility. He led the team that day and put in countable hours over the holidays as his commitment to the city without even batting an eye. And so really appreciate him and his leadership and what he gives to our department and to this city. And I feel we should all be proud that he's an asset and he's here for us, and a Santa Paula resident on top of that. So he's really taking pride in his city. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you for giving me a moment.
Well, thank you very much. You know, I had the honor of attending the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting where he was honored there, and your family was there, and I believe you have a contingent this evening as well. So, and I thought it's important, since you work for the city, we all work for the city, that whenever somebody obtains a recognition like that, that you be recognized not only on paper, but now we get to see, you know, you in person and congratulate you and thank you for all the hard work you do. So thank you and your family, because when you leave the house, you leave them, and you do work for the city. So again, thank you. Appreciate it. And any comments from council member? Please.
Congratulations. Going on 40 years ago, when we first came to have a business in this city, we got involved, and one of the first people that we got to know through Kiwanis was Mel Howery. And he was a very positive influence that set a tone for our city and for that department specifically. So it really is an honor for his longstanding devotion to our community as well, and then to carrying on with the tradition through our current department and all the great work that you do. So we appreciate everything you do for our city. Thank you.
Just really grateful for all that you do to keep our community such a great place. Thank you.
Just, can you introduce us to your family who's here?
Sure. Got my mom right here, Anita Montalona, sitting right here. My wife Charlene, son Ryan, my niece Haiti, my niece Aviana, my other niece Yanessa, my sister Maribel, my niece Betty, my Jessica, and my other niece is Nylea, and my other niece Naomi, and George is in the back, but little George.
Well, let's give you and your family a big round of applause. And we're not done yet. Did everybody show up the last time as well?
There's a couple more this time.
Okay, well, this time you get to be on TV. We'd like to join you and take a picture with you, and please welcome your family also. All of us.
We brought his award this evening, so with his award.
I don't know.
Mayor, you want to hold this one? Sure. This is our one that hangs in the office.
Oh, there we go.
I'll take one more too.
Great support in your family.
That's right, look at that. All right, thank you very much. Thanks for coming again.
90.
All right, see y'all.
Okay, we are back after just giving the Mel L. Howard 2025 Shining Star Award. We're on to item 6C, Parks and Recreation Department Activity Report, and this is presented by Director Barnes. Good evening, Mr. Barnes.
You might ask how many slides I have before you put in your time. I can give you a little insider information. I'm just kidding. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, this evening I'll be reporting on our activities from September through January of this year. I do have quite a bit of information and slides, but I will move quickly through them, but please stop me if you have questions, or we'll have an opportunity at the end. So kicking off, recreation and community services, our classes, as you can see, gymnastics continues to be popular. We continue to get participation in taekwondo and archery, and our taekwondo program in November hosted an event at the community center as well. So they actually hosted a tournament, which was unique for our participants to get an opportunity to participate. Our youth sports continue to thrive. Mighty Mites, let me start with football and cheer. We had 358 flag football participants and 134 cheer participants. We've also seen, as you're probably aware, the last few years they've started girls flag football in the high schools. It's actually a CIF sport now. We have seen the numbers of female participants in flag football also grow in our program. We had a commissioner ask that question, and I'm sorry I'm not prepared with the actual numbers, but they've more than tripled as far as participation from girls participating in our flag football program. And we anticipated that because you see the trend in high school, so they're starting to see the opportunity to continue to participate at higher level. And with the Olympics also, flag football being an Olympic sport now, the participation will just continue to grow. And in basketball, we have a total of 690 participants. That's up by 70. Last year we were at 620, around 620. So that continues to grow. And I'll just mention again, historically, before we had our partnership with the district, we served about 300 youth a season in basketball. So we're more than doubling our participation now. Our youth center continues to offer various program opportunities, offering art classes, partnering with De Colores to offer art classes, and Bright is offering some substance abuse prevention workshops. We had an event at the center, Cuts and Slices, where we had local barbers provide haircuts and things for kids, and then Amici's Pizzas came out and provided free pizza and things for the kids. So it was pretty unique. The picture you're seeing at the top was our holiday event that we actually had at the Oddfellows. They got to go up, they had their holiday party there, and then got to see the trains and participate. So we thank the Oddfellows for hosting us. And again, those are our numbers. 921 total check-ins and 71 individual youth participants have come through the youth center during this period. City Court continues to thrive. We we just hired 8 in the last few months, City Corps leader trainees, additional City Corps leader trainees, so we have 12 total currently working. They've worked a total of 2,367 hours and completed 203 projects. There's a few of them cleaning up downtown in the PBID and working with our water division. They work with the streets division, do alley cleanups, meal prep, and graffiti abatement, tree healthcare. In a recent PBID meeting, the PBID offered support and actually funding. I think almost around $25,000 to support more City Corps hours and supplies and equipment to continue to work downtown in the PBID. So they're really seeing value. I had one of the actual PBID board members emailed me to let me know that a business member came in to comment about Citicorp. I wasn't sure where that was going, but the business person actually came in and complimented Citicorp and the improvements that they're seeing downtown. So that was very thoughtful. We're thankful for that, and proud of the kids and their commitment and work. Our adult classes, we also offer adult archery. We are changing how we offer archery for adults. It's been typically offered in the morning from 9:30 to 10:30 on Wednesdays. We're moving it to an evening class at 6:30 to help to get more participation. So that will be starting in April. Our Zumba and yoga classes, which are typically senior classes, but we've made them adult classes. So we also not only have your senior population participating, which are adults, but we also have opened it just to adults that can come during that time. And then we have volleyball drop-in at Teague Park, and then we also, our pickleball drop-in has been like really, we actually do it in the community center. We, every Monday, actually tape it and build out courts every Monday, and it's growing. We've informed them that when the sports park, if pickleball goes into the sports park, we will probably discontinue the community center, and that wasn't very popular with them. They're really enjoying the community center, so we'll have to evaluate that when the time comes. We hosted our Halloween carnival in late October, obviously, a few days before Halloween. Great attendance. We had participation by the high school, FFA, and the ASB helped us put on our haunted hallways again, which is always really popular. I don't go through it. I haven't gone through it personally. I'm not brave enough yet, but by the screams that I hear, I guess it's popular and everyone enjoys it. We also like to thank our Optimist Club that comes out and does popcorn and participates, and we also had some food vendors and activities. It's free for the community. We don't sell tickets or things, so the community can just come out and participate. We provide candy for prizes and whatnot. Participated in the holiday Christmas parade this year. Obviously, we have a partnership and a friendship with Santa and Mrs. Claus, so we help bring them as part of the parade. It's always a big hit, and then that works into our Santa tours, where we traveled for 4 days around the city, visiting residents and Santa and Mrs. Claus and the elves, getting down and interacting with them for a few nights. So, and we've had pretty good weather, cooperative anyway, so. We participated this year too in the Small Business Saturday. We went and set up in front of the clock tower and did some crafts and things for a few hours for kids as they're coming by, or families that were shopping downtown. We provided that just as a partnership with our downtown and PBED and the businesses, and then also offered our Come See Santa breakfast along with the Optimist Club, and we have some PTSA youth volunteers that come and help us. Our police department's always very helpful and supportive as well. So just kind of takes a community to do this, and again, you can't have Santa pancake breakfast without Santa, so Santa and Mrs. Claus were there taking pictures with their families. It's really a fun thing to see, because you'll see families come up and they're all in matching pajamas, or they're dressed to the nines for their breakfast. This is like their annual Christmas photo that they come do. It's a tradition. And again, it's at no cost to them. So they get a picture and breakfast, and all they need to do is show up and reserve a spot. Senior Services, currently serving over 175 seniors. We have various classes, our knitting club, Zumba, bone builders, chair yoga, all very popular. We continue to offer field trips and movies and luncheons. Just had our Valentine's luncheon today. I arrived a little bit late, but when I got there, half the room was line dancing after they'd had lunch. So very vibrant, everyone's having a good time. And we typically have over 100 attendees at our lunches. We not only did pizza and haircuts for the youth, but we did pizza and cuts for seniors as well. So we had 20 seniors that participated, got a free haircut, and again, got pizza served to them and snacks or whatever, all at no cost. Very thankful. The barbers that come out just donated their time from $9.49 the cut. And then I spoke to the owner of Meat Cheese Pizza, and he was just happy to come out and give pizza to the community and be helpful. Senior Nutrition Program. Served a little over 2,000 meals for congregate meals, a little over 3,000 for home-delivered meals, and then the number we see city-funded meals on every other Friday. Council had approved some funding for senior nutrition, so that served 479 meals. We typically order from a local restaurant. Not typically, we always order from a local restaurant here in Santa Paula, and we serve the seniors that meal on every other Friday. So total meals served was about 5,774, and meals to date from July 1st is a little over 8,000. I will continue to let you know that we're seeing some challenges with senior nutrition, and VC AAA is moving. The county's going to stop, it's going to turn over VC AAA to the state July 1st. Staff has been watching this closely, attending some workshops. We'll be coming back to council in the third quarter with some requests in order to kind of help us fill a gap while the state and everyone works out their RFPs. But we are confident that we won't see a gap in services, but we're going to need a little assistance to make that happen. The Santa Paula Master Plan for Aging was in front of you. You all adopted it, but we're not just letting it sit on a shelf. Staff has continued to meet. We go through the recommendations that was in the advisory or the master plan, each recommendation, and we try and connect what is the city doing. So what are we currently doing? How are we meeting that recommendation? And we have 2 members of our senior advisory group that are also part of an ad hoc that join us. So we have that larger conversation. There's a section on housing. We met with James Mason, and he went through the housing section with us so we can see what the city's doing in that category. And we will be bringing that back in May as we come to you every May to recognize Older Americans Month. We're also going to come back in May and give you an update on the Master Plan for Aging and where we're at, where we are with certain recommendations, maybe where we need some advocacy or some help on certain recommendations. But our plan is to come to you at least annually and report back to you on where we are with that master plan. The staff applied for a Supporting Healthy Aging Through Parks and Recreation grant. It's a Walk with Ease. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's to get seniors out walking, and we walk in a group. Currently have 5 seniors participating. It just started about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Our goal is to get 100 seniors in the program. They don't all have to walk with us at the same time, but they could walk on their own. There's a book that goes along with it and a curriculum. It was through the NRPA, but we just started it. We've got fancy water bottles we give out to when they first participate in a book that they can get. So we're at 5. The staff tries to go out in different areas of the community. We're trying to reenact the Rocky movie, maybe, if you will, and maybe people will just join us as we're walking, and we'll get more seniors going with us. But it's growing, and it's growing slowly. Even in inclement weather like we had the other day, they showed up, and they were walking in the auditorium. So we're trying to get them out at parks and things, but when they can't, they'll walk in our facility. Moving on to parks and facilities, we broke it down a little different this time. So we broke it down by different facilities and kind of what we've done. At the police department, we remodeled the front of the police department, including the installation of new trees and mulch and irrigation, landscaping. We tried to get that done before the police department had its grand opening or open house for phase 1. We installed holiday lighting, did some LED retrofit of the outside of the buildings. We did LED retrofit of a lot of our buildings, but at PD, we did the outside because the remodeling will take care of the inside of the lighting. You will see some additional, the landscaping we did was temporary. America in Bloom will be coming in the next month and be putting permanent landscaping into the front of the building. They've offered to partner with us. So that should be happening in about a month. They hired a landscape architect to actually design it, and then they're going to come in and put in more permanent. We're not going to waste what was there, though. We're going to remove the mulch ourselves and place it in other areas, and we're going to take the potted plants and put them in use for other places. So it wasn't a waste what we did. We're just going to repurpose the materials that are there. At the community center, we completed a new fire and burglar alarm system installation, so it's all new. Our fire alarm especially was very outdated, and we were having issues even during rentals of it going off in the middle of rentals and things. So that work is for the most part done. A few finishing touches. We did LED retrofitting of lighting to reduce energy costs, and that's all done as well. The entire building's been retrofit with LED lighting. The senior center, installed a new senior center sign. I don't know if you've seen it. We were really struggling because we were getting costs for putting a new sign, but it would have just been having a sign and sticking it on the frame. This one was actually removed, totally rebuilt, done and painted. We had a seal that we had made and put out. You can't see it by there, but there's 2 slots where we can put signage in those slots. So if there's a luncheon or different things, we can actually advertise. And it was made by a Santa Paulan, Danny Reisman, who was Metalcraft. He actually designed it and built it for us for about less than what we would have paid just for a sign to slap on it. So it was kind of cool to have it, and Danny and I were joking that, for the next 20 or 30 years, he'll be able to point to that. He made that sign for the senior center. We're looking at doing a matching one on the other side of the community center maybe next fiscal year. Community development, Completed interior and exterior LED lighting and retrofitting of that building. City administration, we did the same thing. We did LED retrofit in this building, interior and exterior. We also remodeled the finance director's office, 2 offices, and we will be starting this week in doing a 3rd office. So, and that's all being done in-house by people like Martine that we recognize this evening. So we're doing all that work continually, painting, flooring, everything to remodel these offices. Oil Museum rekeyed it as we had new users in the building now. We rekeyed it so that the current 2 users both have keys that let them access their space in the building. And then city has master key that we can access any part of the building we need to in order for maintenance purposes. Boys and Girls Club completed building fumigation and pest control, working with them and coordinating that effort with them. And then at Parks and Public Spaces, we completed half of Grid 3 for our tree maintenance. So we are on track. This is year 3 of our 3-year plan. We completed half of it, installed new LED lighting at Mills Park, and again, did different holiday lighting and things as well. We will look at the second part of the grid here as we get into spring. It's always a budget, so we're trying to make sure there's not too many storms, not too many emergencies that eat up our budget. And then if it's trending well, we'll look at trying to get the second half of Grid 3 done before the end of this fiscal year. Sports Park, we modified the restroom. When they built it, it was male-female restrooms, and we could not make them single-use, multi-gender, or whatever restrooms for all. So we had to do some modifications to it. We completed that, so now we have 4 single restrooms that can be used. It makes a big difference for park users. It makes restrooms much more available. We also supported a high school cross-country event. They had their first ever home cross-country meet at the sports park. Ever in the history of Santa Paula High School, they were able to host their first cross-country meet, and we assisted them with that at the sports park. Cultural Arts Building installed new electrical vehicle charging station. You can see a picture of it there. We purchased that vehicle. Council had approved it with the last budget cycle, so we installed electric charging station right there at the community center so we can plug in and charge. Citywide operations and storm response, as I mentioned, we had staff out during the holidays, all through the holidays. It started raining right at the wrong time, right at Christmas Eve. But staff was out Christmas Eve. They were out Christmas Day inspecting facilities, so I'm very thankful to our dedicated staff for doing that. Typically, when it starts raining, we're out every 3 or 4 hours inspecting facilities all throughout the night. Tree maintenance, we had 9 trees we lost. We planted 14, and we pruned 294. Our Fagan Branca master plan, just to report on that, we have held multiple community meetings. We're now at the point where we're going to come back to council, probably another study session, to share with you what we've heard from the community, to share the conceptual design with you, to hopefully kind of share what the projected costs might be for the project and construction plans, and provide and get some feedback from you. At this point, we have no money to go forward with the project, but we'd like to have that conversation with you to make sure we're on the right track. And then the Farm Workers Monument as well. If you haven't noticed or heard, it's in a little disrepair. The stone has worn, and there's even some names that are kind of been worn. We have been actively working on repairing that. We're having some challenges because we've got to identify proper stone to put in. Sandstone was used for the initial monument, which looks great, but the lifespan of it's 10, 15 years, even treating it, if you even treat it regularly on an annual. So we're working through that. We'll report back to you, but I just wanted to bring it up so that the community and you all know that it's not something that's gone unnoticed. We're hoping to convene. There's a community group that was very interested in it, and we would like to convene them, but I would really like to have some answers or at least a direction for us before I convene that group again. And then administration, continue to work on various CIP projects. You can see the list there. Sports Park Phase 2, we've begun meeting with Lewis and Luminaria to advance the development of Phase 2. We'll be bringing that to you too at some point. We have the conceptual site plan, I think pretty much ironed out. A couple things need to be tweaked. Now they need to get kind of started on construction design and cost, so then we can bring that back to you. There might be decisions that need to be made about what amenities we can afford and what we move forward with in the park. We always produce our rec guide, as you know, recognized Martine for the Shining Star Award, And we have our dog park ad hoc committee meeting to kind of work through potential locations for dog parks. And so we'll be bringing that back to you all too for an update at some point. Worked on our user fee study, as you all know. Updated permit and reservation systems to ensure consistency with the fee study. Applied for and was awarded the grant from the Channel Islands Bicycle Club. So it's a small grant, but we're going to be able to put 6 bicycle racks out throughout the community. We get asked about that a lot. So this was an opportunity for us to put some at the sports park and other areas around the community. And then I already mentioned that we were awarded the Supporting Healthy Aging Through Parks grant from the NRPA. And then just some final numbers. I won't read them all off to you, but you can see that our parks are being used. The barbecue pavilions are very popular. And we're seeing a lot of rentals, facility use. And that's it. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All right, thank you, Director Barnes. Questions?
I made it. What time is it?
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Just one question. Do you have a time when the security fencing around the City Hall and Police Department will be completed? So
I was just having a discussion today. They're getting their final bid for the screening that we have to put on. We have to add additional screening before we can put in the mechanisms to open and close the gates, the keypads and things. So we're waiting for one more bid. I'm actually going to have a conversation with RWC this week, early next week, to finalize it. Once we get the final bid, I'm hoping 30 days.
Okay.
It sometimes is becoming challenging to actually secure bids. I think that's a good thing. Maybe contractors are very busy, but it seems to be hard when you do projects for a city. There's a lot of other things that play in, prevailing wage and certified payroll. And so when contractors are busy, sometimes it's hard to get that third bid that we need. But I think that's where we're at now. And, I wish I could tell you like 30 days. We're hoping that we'd at least have the screen installed.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Oh, I'm sorry. Vice Mayor has a question for you.
Yeah, I had a question on the doors. You were talking about rekeying the Oil Museum building, and I know a lot of those are old doors, so this may not even be feasible, but I was just thinking, is it at all possible to do keypads on any of those at some point in the future? Or are they all old enough doors that they would be completely incompatible?
It's not about them not being incompatible, but you have to run electricity or do a lot of things or run wiring for them. So sometimes that's the challenge of just where you want to locate them. I don't want to say it can't happen. We haven't considered it for that building because it's easier and less expensive just to get them rekeyed. And it allows us to have some control over where we did put in a new alarm pads and system there too, so that each user has their own alarm access and things, so we know who's coming in and out of the building, especially when you have multiple users. So we can, if a door doesn't get closed, we know the last person in or out, those types of things. And we're not sharing codes, but the actual key punch, something we could probably do down the line, but it's much more expensive than just getting it rekeyed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you, Director Barnes. Okay, that was receive and file Parks and Recreation Department activity report for the period of September 1st, 2025 through January 31st, 2026. We'll move on to item 6D, David, City of San Paulo Public Works Department activity report, August 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, and it's Director Dale Goodman.
Mr. Mayor, for the record, I need to step out for a quick minute.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. So I'm Dale Goodman, Public Works Director, and I will try and keep this as brief as possible. How do I make this go forward?
To the right.
There we go. So there's a quick overview of what I'm going to talk about. And since those all those lines are headers on different pages, we'll just move on. So we have a lot of contracts that we work with in Public Works, 14 professional service agreements for a lot of different things, civil engineering, water, wastewater, street maintenance, traffic engineering, solid waste. And it comes to a significant amount of our budget every year for these contracts for services, which is okay because we also get a lot of work done with that money. So in FY 25-26, the approved budget was $1.68 million. Approximately $1.2 million of that has been encumbered. Another one of our services, you've all heard of Athens, who is our waste hauler. probably more than you'd like to, but we're still working on ironing out that last bit of the contract, the change that they've been asking for. The activity, though, they have been doing a great job of keeping the city where it needs to be with regard to solid waste. 7,496 tons of solid waste, and during this 5-month period. This report's actually just a 4-month period from August, September, October, November. I guess it was 5-month period. So they've done a lot of outreach in the city, 126 accounts, 20 assessments of account, 126 accounts, 233 site visits, trainings, hosted household hazardous waste and e-waste events. They are a big participant in community activities, Santa Paula Police Department, National Night Out, Labor Day Parade. It goes on and on. I'm not sure what a baseball golf tournament is, but I assume it's something to do with the high school baseball team having a golf tournament. Wastewater Division, we are at 90% design submittal for the advanced water treatment facility. Has been completed. It's under review at this time. Phase 1 of the WRF blower replacement project was awarded to MMC in June. The work is now complete on Phase 1. Larry Walker and Associates have been doing a lot of work for the city with our pre-treatment program, and some of that work has provided us with a couple of additional dialysis clinics that we need to get onto the pre-treatment program so we can further lower our chloride in the effluent stream from the wastewater treatment plant. And then, of course, staff is working with MKN, Larry Walker and Associates, and the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board regarding the options to avoid building the advanced water treatment plant. So although they're requiring that we complete the plans, there is the possibility that we won't have to build the plant in the end, which would be, as of a few weeks ago, the new engineer's estimate is $31 million. So that's up 50% over what it was a few years ago. So that's a significant increase. We are very close to the 110 parts per million, and we feel like we're going to get there. And we just recently had a meeting with you where we talked about that in depth and answered, and Mike Nunley was here and answered a lot of questions about that. The Water Division serves the city really well. We just celebrated 30 years of this being a city water department. And some of the things that have happened since August, we've had a hydro excavator delivered. That's, if you don't know what that is, that's like a really high-powered shop vac. Can suck up dirt, rocks, debris, water. And we use that because there's so many pipes and cables and things like that buried in the right-of-way that when it's really almost unsafe to go out there and try to excavate with a backhoe. And so you go in and you vacuum out all of that, the dirt. You use high-pressure water to loosen it up, and then you vacuum it up. And it's a really handy tool, and it's very safe for our employees to use. It's very effective. The Peck Road Waterline project is now complete. A Canyon Booster Rehab project is underway. Park and Orchard, that project is out to bid at this time. The division has a 3-year treatment chemical supply agreement that's been executed and a 2-year cross-connection control specialist agreement that has been executed. During this period, 563 million gallons of water were produced. So we produce a lot of water. We have a really great water basin, and that continues to supply us with all the water that we need. And you can see there some of the other numbers 460 new meters were installed. So we're gradually working our way out of the radio read and the manual read meters. I think we're almost out of manual read meters at this point, which is a really good thing. It allows us to do the reads more in a much more orderly and quick fashion. A couple of the employees that were able to achieve some things of note. Frank Michael has now been promoted from WSO2 to a WSO3. He passed his test. We now have one WSO3. We had one, and he left the city to pursue other interests. And so Frank Michael has stepped up and done the work to get his WSO3. Lorenzo Luna is a brand new employee, and he's now got his WSO1. And it takes a lot of study and work, hard work to go from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, et cetera. Streets Division, of course, we have been feeling the loss of Joe Byram and his leadership in that division. But the crew has continued to perform well, and they've been helping with the police department, helping the fleet division with the pickup and delivery of police vehicles and other vehicles that need to be delivered, because our fleet division has also been shorthanded. And even for quite a while, we just had one person trying to do all the fleet maintenance. And so anyway, the streets division does a lot of different things for us. They had ground down a lot of trip hazards throughout the city. 38 tons of asphalt to repair potholes was placed during this period. Repainted red curbs, maintained bike trails, have done a lot of other things, including removing the old banners and putting up the new banners that you see out on Main Street and other areas in the city. So they're very busy with their work. And there's the fleet division. We now have our fleet supervisor and one additional mechanic working, which has helped a lot to have that second mechanic back working for us. And then we have one mechanic who is still out on medical leave. But you can see how many vehicles we have by department, number of vehicle services and service orders. And so it's a significant amount of work that gets done by our fleet maintenance group. The microgrid project that we've been involved in, we have submitted finally the application. The final version of it has been submitted and is in review with SCE. That microgrid, if we are awarded the funds that we've asked for, the second to the bottom bullet point, you can see $12.55 million is what we're asking for. We could have asked for up to $18 million. But the project that we could do, the quote for the engineer's estimate was $12.55 million. And that would power the senior center, the water treatment plant, the Main Street fire station with clean energy in the event of power loss. So we wouldn't have to go to our backup diesel generators for at least 24 hours, possibly longer, because if we have sun for 12 hours of that time each day, that could actually go a little bit longer. So we're waiting. We should hear from that during this first quarter. We should hear from SCE on their decision. And then some capital improvement program projects. The 10th Street Ojai Road crosswalk improvements. That's a 3-location project, and we're still working with Caltrans and Granite for Granite to do that work. We will pay for it, and we have the money, but we weren't able to get permission from Caltrans to go in with another contractor and try and do that work while they're working on the roads. They didn't want that much confusion, but they said we could approach Granite. So we're going down that road, hoping that Granite will give us a good quote and to do that work for us. Peck Road water main replacement project, that is now complete. The Mill Street sewer main replacement, I don't know if you remember when we were working out here on Mill Street and we had that torn up for a couple of days, but that actually happened in this 4 or 5 month period that I'm talking about. So that, of course, is complete. We have a couple of other projects. I receive thumb drives on a regular basis from VRSD that showing me where we have pipe in the ground that really needs work, needs to be replaced. So we have a couple of other projects that we're getting designed so that we can go out to bid with those and not come to you with some kind of emergency action. The Park Orchard water sewer main repair and paving project, that is out to bid at this time, and so we expect that will be built. We will award that bid sometime, in the next probably 45 days, and sometime during the summer that project will be built. Pavement management and streets, we were able to complete most of the fall paving project, some notable exceptions, but we were able to get Main Street done and to do some additional work off of Main Street, and people are really happy about the Main Street pavement. The product wasn't quite as clean as I would like to have seen, but it's much smoother than it was, so take the small win. PMP Cycle 2, we had a workshop in December, got community input and feedback. There will be a presentation coming up in the first meeting in March. We will talk about the PMP Cycle 2, as well as funding for the spring, summer, fall paving project, which will fold in the portions of the fall 2025 paving that were not completed. We will make sure that those get completed first, and then before they move on to anything else. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. Questions for Director Goodman? Go ahead. Councilmember Chavez.
Can you remind our residents where they can see updates regarding upcoming road closures?
So the Public Works, the city, on the city's website, go on to Public Works, and we have a map that shows projects. We actually have more projects that we are going to load on that map so that people will be aware of not just some of the big projects that really impact them, like and projects that aren't even ours, but impact citizens. But we're going to put a lot of our projects on that map as well. So it'll be very easy if you know how to use a computer, if you have a computer, or even your cell phone, you'll be able to drill down and look at that map and see where projects are. And that will help you maybe plan routes maybe a little differently than what you would normally use to go from here to there.
I think it's very helpful, and it's great to see that was able to be incorporated. Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, go ahead, Vice Mayor.
And then when we switch out the water meters for the more automated meters, do we inform the customers at that time that that service is available where they can monitor their own water usage?
That's a good question.
Because I know at one point we weren't, and we had encouraged the staff at the time to start doing that. But I don't know if it ever happened. Because I know at the time they were like, well, but people might, they wanted to get all of them out first. And we're like, well, but then we might be starting to change into something different by the time we finally get through the cycle. So anyway, I was just curious.
I will ask.
If we kind of give them a flyer, like, here, you've been changed out, and this is how you can access your water data. Because if it's a service that is available, I feel like people should know if they're eligible to be able to use it. So, okay, thank you.
I have just a bit of input. I know there is a door hanger because I had someone bring me one. So I don't know if it's being distributed regularly, but there is the product that is ready to go out. So
that's good to know.
All right, thank you, Director Goodman. This is, I was told the closed caption is off, so I'm going to report that. We just finished with item 6D, which is a Public Works Department Activity Report, August 1st through December 31st, 2025. We move on to item number 7, City Council Reports. We're going to start with Councilmember Chavez. I know you normally give your written report. Do you have anything earth-shattering?
I don't have anything pressing, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to forego to my written report at the next meeting and make any announcements I have to.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember Cornell?
thank you, Mayor. It's been kind of a busy couple of weeks for meetings. It started out the day after our last meeting, attending the VRSD, Ventura Regional Sanitation District, and we held our elections, and I was elected vice president for 2026. A couple of things important that came out of that meeting. One is that by contract, we get an annual rebate if there's an overage of what we've paid to them. And we are getting a very sizable rebate, which comes back to our department as a credit. And so that was very good news for our city on that. And then also, they've done a study on the airspace at Toland, at the Toland dump, to actually measure how much space is left to estimate the longevity or the life of the dump. Recent numbers had been estimated at more like 8 or 9 years, but the study showed, partially by closing Saturdays, but partially other things that have been happening in the industry, it looks like we have an estimated 12.1 years. So that gives us time. It's still a matter of urgency for really the whole region to figure out where we go next with once that's full, but it does give us a little more time to do it right. Attended the senior advisory. Enjoyed attending the harvest ribbon cutting because that's just exciting to see more homes available for people to move to Santa Paula. Some beautiful homes out there. You should go out and look and just take a look at the models and just see how nice that neighborhood and opportunities are for our community. Attended the Boys and Girls Club auction, spent a little money there. Had a discussion with staff by Zoom on the oil museum uses, along with Councilmember Chavez, with regards largely with sorting out some of the issues with Leap Lab and ongoing issues that we're trying to work out to make everything work over there. Attended, along with a lot of staff, a lot of commissioners and other council members, the ethics training on the 10th. And then on the 11th, had a meeting with Mayor Juarez as both members of the Blue Ribbon Hospital Committee, working on the legislative agenda with some proposals in tonight's agenda for some additions and changes regarding health issues in our valley. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Crosswhite.
All right, let's see. So after our last meeting, I attended the 2 SCAG meetings, 3 actually. At our Energy and the Environment Committee meeting for the Southern California Association of Governments, we learned that SCAG is working on developing a toolkit to help agencies that are just in the beginning processes of trying to do their clean transit transition. So that toolkit is supposed to be coming out in draft form in April or soon thereafter. There was also some lively discussion with the guy from the LA Public Works Department about artificial turf and how, for a while it was seen as really beneficial in using less water, but a downside is that it creates a lot of runoff. And so some cities are actually talking about creating programs to incentivize people to take out their artificial turf in order to use, not necessarily to plant grass, but to be able to use their yards as a place where water can percolate back into the ground instead of just running off into the storm drains. And so they're going to probably be doing a study at some point to really weigh the benefit and the cost of a program like that, but it was just something that was discussed. And then I also want to re-announce the SCAG scholarship that will go to at least one student in Ventura County. There's 9 total in the SCAG region, and they are for $4,000. Applications are due March 20th. And priority will be given to students with a commitment to community planning, regional planning, urban planning, civil engineering, political science, public administration, sustainable development, or other related fields. And then at our legislative communications and membership committee, We talked about so SCAG is putting up what is right now going to be unbacked bill language. They have a potential sponsor, but it will be for a REAP, which is the Regional Early Action Planning Grant Program. A lot of that funding went through VCOG last time in order to benefit the county. And they're trying to get this codified into law, because it was a temporary program to help with planning for when our RENA cycle comes back around again, which is the Regional Housing Needs Assessment when they assign the numbers. And then they're also looking at an accompanying budget ask to fund the program. So I will keep you informed as that develops. And then we had Councilmember Chavez and I had an Economic Development Standing Committee meeting with a couple of planning commissioners. I met with the Ventura County Community College District. They're doing some planning for the educational needs in the Santa Clara Valley, and so they've been having meetings to try to get with both the private and government sectors to try to gather information around how they need to be planning, not just for the educational needs today, but the educational needs into the future. I attended the February 10th Board of Supervisors meeting where they talked about the Santa Paula Hospital, and they do plan to be coming back likely in summer of '26 with a decision point for the Board of Supervisors. They were urged to really engage with the community between now and then, and so hopefully they will engage with the community in meaningful ways, so it doesn't come as a surprise whatever comes to the supervisors for a decision this summer. And since they're dark in July, that will likely be in August. And then at VCTC, the Ventura County Transportation Commission, we learned that the Freeway Service Patrol Program, it had been conceptualized that the Santa Clara Valley would also get direct service. So right now, along the 118 and along the 101, there are roving patrol trucks. So if you have a flat tire, you need some gas, you overheat, you need a battery charging, any kinds of roadway assistance, you need to tow off the freeway. There's a roving patrol truck that helps get folks off the freeway. Unfortunately, partially due to the increase in insurance costs in California, all of those contracts went up 50% because the cost to insure a tow truck, I can't remember what it was, but went up astronomically. So that's taking up more funding than anticipated. And then when they bid out the Santa Clara Valley, because they were hoping to now add the Santa Clara Valley in since the phones, can't think of the call boxes were removed. They were hoping to add not necessarily full tow truck service, but a roving vehicle that would be available to assist cars if they had troubles. They were hoping to add that to the Santa Clara Valley. That contract was bid out at 100% higher than the other contracts. So the cost per hour was prohibitive, and they would have had to have dug into reserves in order to fund it. So unfortunately, staff was not able to recommend funding for that same service in the Santa Clara Valley, even though we all pay into it, which they definitely heard from the entire commission that they were concerned about the fact that there wasn't going to be a comparable service in the Santa Clara Valley. There is going to be sometime in the next couple of months, they are going to bring a conversation back to the board to try to think about other ways they might be able to service the valley in some capacity in the meantime. And then there are efforts happening across the state because none of the agencies, so how this program gets funded is it's $1 per car registered in the state. And then that money gets divided up among all of the county transportation commissions. Most of the county transportation commissions are finding that this money isn't going as far as it once did. So there is an effort across the state to try to increase that even just a little bit, because that would help with the funding of these programs. And then there's also, they're going to continue to try to figure out how to service the Santa Clara Valley. So I will keep you updated as those conversations continue, but unfortunately, we will not be getting direct freeway service patrol at this time. So, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. My report mirrors some of what the other council members said. I also attend the ribbon cutting at Harvest at Limonera with Councilmember Cornejo on the 5th of February. I also attended, along with other committee members and council members, the ethics training here in the City Council chambers on the 10th. Myself and Councilmember Cornejo attended the legislative agenda, which you'll hear about later on this evening. And on February 11th, we had committee interviews, which we will be reviewing those and appointing committee members this evening. On February 17th, I also met with Vice Mayor Crosswhite, with one of our consultants by Zoom. And of course, this evening on February 18th, we had a study session here in the council chambers with members from the chamber, members from the public regarding our events, our parades, and cruise night. And that's my report, other than I do want to sadly say that we're going to adjourn our meeting this evening in the memory of an infant son of one of our police officers and his wife. So we will be doing that later this evening. That's my report, and I turn it now over to our city manager's reports.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Yes, it's been a busy couple of weeks. I had a chance to be part of the ribbon cutting of the new homes out at the Harvest that Lennar is building. Really phenomenal to see the quality of construction and opportunity to live on the hillside there. So that was a treat. The sales office is now open. Not that I'm here to promote them, but for anyone that wants to go out and look, there's a number, more than a dozen of different models available. Was pleased to again go to the Boys and Girls Club kind of annual gala and dress up for that. Went to our monthly birthday celebrations for our employees, participated in the ethics training, and, you know, on the topic of ethics, I spent 3 days last week up at the annual City Managers Conference and had an opportunity to be part of a speaker panel that was on the topic of ethics. And so it was a timely opportunity to talk about our profession and how we try and work through an ethical lens. So it was a privilege being there. It was a really great conference, lots of learning. We had Simon Sinek presenting to us. I went to a great session on the impacts and opportunities that AI is presenting to cities. So that was fascinating, and just got to do a lot of learning. And then finally, I came home over the weekend and, of course, attended the memorial and mass for our beloved employee, Joe Byram, who's no longer with us. That almost concludes my report. I did want to make one correction announcement that was brought to my attention this afternoon. Back in January, we asked the council to support the award of contract for the bidding of the 8th Street lighting project. And that's the purchase of the new solar lights that'll be installed on 8th Street. That process, and, you know, we went out and we got 3 different bids. That process should have said to award a purchase. And the staff report said it was awarding a contract, but it's not a contract for service like professional services. It's a bid for purchases. So I just wanted to clarify that. That's helpful to our auditors to know that the actions that you took were the intended actions. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Singer. We move now on to item number 9, the consent calendar. We have 9A, January 26 warrants and certifications, and 9B, retroactive approval for parts purchases, Water Division. Is there any council member who would like to an item pulled or any discussion?
I would move approval.
Second.
Okay, moved by Vice Mayor Crosswhite, seconded by Councilmember Chavez. Any discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, passes. We now move on to public hearing. which is number 10, 10A, resolution to make changes to Harvest CFD number 1 and approve the second amendment to the CFD number 1 funding, construction, and acquisition agreement. And I believe you're going to make a,
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to recuse myself on the issue to be consistent
Because of a
with
perceived conflict.
a perceived conflict of interest because I'm a property owner in Harvest.
very good. Thank you, Councilmember Chavez. Okay, and so presenting this, well, it says Chrissy Ramirez, is she?
She is not feeling well.
Okay.
And I am going to cover the bulk of her report. We're joined this evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, by Dave Fama, who's our consultant and attorney working on our CFD projects. He's by Zoom, as are members of both Lennar and LLCB.
Okay, before we begin, this is a public hearing, so let me first confirm verification of posting notice by city clerk.
Yes, it was posted.
Thank you. Declarations of conflicts, if any, other than Councilmember Chavez, who recused himself. Declaration of ex parte contacts, if any. Open public hearing. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
No, that was quite appropriate. So when the city approved the Harvest project and the corresponding development agreement, it formed the Harvest Community Facility District Number 1, or what we call CFD Number 1. And in that process designated 3 improvement areas. They were improvement area A, B, and C, and they roughly mimicked the neighborhoods that are being developed at the Harvest. So you had the first area that's now built out or nearing completion. The second area, Area B, which is the new Foothill neighborhood that we just spoke about that Lennar is developing, and eventually the C area, which will be kind of Creekside in the northwest corner. The CFD number 1 taxes were bonded for and have been issued for all of the improvements that were made. And the idea behind a CFD is to help the developer to pay for the infrastructure that they're building that becomes public. And so these are such improvements as public streets, obviously the large regional sports park, the infamous bridge, which is now finally under construction, sewer, or rather stormwater systems, catch basin systems, other road work that's being done, for example, out at Halleck and the highway. And now that we're approaching the opportunity to move forward with the development of Area B and Area C, both Lewis Limoneira, along with Lennar, have come forward with a request to amend the development agreement, which was approved by the council at your meeting on January 14th, 2026. So the developers have agreed to assist the city with longer-term funding as a means of upkeep for not only the sports park, but also other services throughout the east area. And the legal process for accomplishing this includes amending the rate and the method of the special tax to allow a future shift of a certain portion of the existing taxes through this expansion of services. So tonight's action is designed to do that. Mr. Fama can speak more specifically to the resolutions that are before you, but essentially, as a first step, what you're being requested to do is to change the rate and method of apportionment of tax area A and B, and that by doing so, you're allowing for the expanded list of authorized expenses against those tax areas. The vote that'll be taken tonight is only by 2 property owners, that being Lewis Limoneira, or Limoneira Lewis Community Builders, and Lennar Homes, because they're the sole owners at this point in time within the improvement areas that we're talking about. And then you'll also have a second amendment to CFD number 1, which again, Mr. Fama and Ms. Castillo can talk to a little bit further. But essentially, the agreement directs the use of bond proceeds and special taxes to to implement and maintain consistency within the changes of the expanded service area, improvement areas. So with that, I'll pass this over to Mr. Fama in case he wants to add anything, or if I've missed anything. You have a series of resolutions before you. This is a public hearing, so you'll take public testimony, as well as hear the results of the vote from the city clerk.
Okay. Mr. Fama, did you have something to add, or any of your staff?
No, I certainly could answer questions. Mr. City Manager summarized it well. So the legal process tonight is the second of 2 city council meetings required in order to get this done. The first step, as you might recall, took place on January 14th, where there was an expression of intent to make these changes. The interim time period here gives time for people to look into this if they want to, and then it goes to a public hearing, and the council is enabled to tonight, affirm the changes. The second resolution will call for a vote of the landowners, which is a legal procedural requirement. The ballots are already in. As Mr. City Manager said, the 2 property owners have submitted, yes in favor of the changes. So, yeah, we're just going through the legal process here, step by step, that's required under the government code.
All right. Any questions?
I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
At what point was our city clerk going to announce the results of that election?
Do you open the public hearing first?
You did.
You did, okay. I do have all of the votes in, and all of the owners of the affected property have unanimously voted yes. Excuse me,
Okay.
sorry.
All right.
100% yes, thanks.
All right, thank you. Any questions for our presenters from council? Oh, go ahead, Councilmember Cornell.
For the benefit of the public, can someone give sort of the layperson's description of what's happening with these taxes? Just so that the people understand, is this a increase of taxes to the people, or is it an adjustment? So if that can just be kind of a basic explanation for public, please.
Mr. Fama, you want to take a stab at that? And I can
Yeah, let me handle that. The city does have a special tax consultant who, kind of wrote up the changes, but at a high level, there's a tax that's levied for facilities and a tax that's levied for services. We're talking about Area B and C only, not Area A. And the tax that's levied for facilities pays the bonds, and the bonds are 30-year bonds. They haven't been issued yet. But when they are issued, that tax is levied for the 30 years to pay bonds. What the change is at the end of the 30 years, 50% of that tax is going to be able to be used for services, because the bonds are gone. And so at a 50% level, that tax will continue to be levied, and it can be used for city services. And I think the city's intention is to utilize that, at least in part, for the sports park. In order to use it for the sports park, we had to expand the authorized services that the tax could fund to include parks. So 2 changes, 1 for that 50% transition, and then 2 to enable the money to be used for parks. That's a high level, and that's the effect of what's going on tonight.
Thank you, that's what I was looking for, appreciate it.
Thank you for that question, Councilmember Cornell. Let me see. Do we have any public comment?
I have no public comment cards.
Okay, so at this point, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we'll go to discussion and action by council. One quick question, Attorney Monica. Since there's 3 council members here, we have 1 absent and 1 recused himself. In order for this to pass, does it have to be majority or unanimous of the 3?
Has to be unanimous of the 3.
Thank you. Discussion or a motion?
I was going to say, it's a long motion. Okay, I'll let you do that.
Thank you.
Short straw, okay. I move that we adopt Resolution Number 7602, authorizing amendment of the rate and method of apportionment of special tax and authorized services for improvement areas areas B and C of Harvest Community Facilities District Number 1, and submitting amendments to qualified electors. And Resolution Number 7603, declaring results of an election to amend the rate and method of apportionment of special tax and authorized services for improvement areas B and C of Harvest Community Facilities District Number 1, CFD Number 1, and Resolution Number 7604, authorizing the mayor chairperson to execute the Second Amendment to the CFD Number 1 Funding, Construction, and Acquisition Agreement on behalf of the City of Santa Paula and Harvest Community Facilities District Number 1.
And I'll second.
Well, thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Cornell and seconded by Vice Mayor Crosswhite. Is there any further discussion? All right, with that, can we have a roll call vote just so that we're clear?
Councilmember Cornejo?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Crosswhite?
Yes.
Mayor Juarez?
Yes.
And we have Councilmember Chavez, who is recused, and Councilmember Ornelas, who is absent, so that is unanimous 3-0.
All right, thank you very much. So that passes, and we're going to go on now to, yeah, let's call back Councilmember Cornejo. I mean Chavez. That's because I'm looking at you. Sorry. Welcome back, Councilmember Chavez. Okay, we're moving on now to item 11A, which is appointment to commissions and committees. And did the council get the updated agenda page? Okay. All right, so this will be presented by our city clerk, Julie Latshaw.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I did hand out the red line copy of updating the Senior Advisory Committee. My apologies, we had wrong names on there, and I wanted to be sure that who you voted for today were the individuals that you did interview. So if I could go ahead and start. The city clerk's office did publish the vacancy notices of all the open positions. So this is everything that we did have at that time with the applications coming in. The city council held an applicant interview on February 11th to fill all of the following positions. We had Measure T Oversight Committee, and that was to fill one vacancy for a 4-year term as the business member. We had 4 applicants for that were interviewed. We had the Senior Advisory Committee to fill one vacancy for a 2-year term, and we had 3 applicants for that. And we also had the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging for the Santa Paula representative to fill one vacancy, and we had just the one applicant. Staff is recommending that council go ahead and appoint different representatives to each of these, and also if you can also authorize the mayor to sign a letter to the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging announcing the appointment that you do appoint this evening, and that is if you decide to do that. You do also have the option of not appointing this evening, one or several, and you can always request to have more applications come in first. And that's my report.
All right. Well, thank you, City Clerk Latshaw. This process over the years has been done several different ways, everything from a council member just making a nomination to a member or taking a poll. I think the easiest thing to do is I think we all interviewed, other than Councilmember Nellis, who was absent. But I think I'll entertain some conversation and then move towards somebody who's willing to make a motion. Yes, sir, or a nomination.
Well, first I want to thank those that applied. Obviously, we've gone through this multiple times, and just remember, don't give up on the first try. There's always opportunities that come up, especially when it comes to the Measure T oversight. There's another vacancy happening in a few months. So in terms, I just want to provide my opinion regarding these nominations. I think we had a large pool of applicants, all bringing individual strengths. However, I'm going to give one of those individuals an edge because of his commitment and service serving on the Parks and Recs Commission. And when you learn about how the city operates, you get more involved, and then you go and you want to take that experience to the next level. I think being part of an allocation committee is part of that growth. And so I'd like to nominate Brad Williams to serve as a Measure T Oversight Committee member. In terms of Senior Advisory Committee, Cynthia Reyes Cruz. And my third, obviously, is Peggy Parra to be a representative on AAA. And again, thank you to all the candidates who applied.
Thank you. And the city attorney, do we need a second on a nomination or simply a nomination?
You can do a second on a nomination.
Pardon me?
A second on a nomination
Okay.
would be good.
I would second that, assuming that your motion includes authorizing the mayor to sign the letter for VC AAA.
Absolutely, as amended.
Very good, thank you. And
Because those were that was I mean, look, we had lots of great applicants, and I hope that they will apply. Those who weren't chosen tonight will keep applying for other things, but that was the way that my list also shook out.
good.
And I would agree with that. So it's interesting that we all ended up not getting to talk to each other about it, but all coming to pretty much the same conclusions. And again, as has already been said, it's really heartening to see such wonderful people ready to step up and serve and be a part of our city. We can't do what we do we don't have people helping on these boards and commissions and so and committees. So you seconded that, right? Okay, so my comment is I would just agree. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And those were actually my same thoughts as well. So it's been moved by Councilmember Chavez, nominated by Councilmember Chavez, and then there was a second by Vice Mayor Crosswhite for Brad Williams for the Measure T Oversight Committee, a 4-year term, for Cynthia Reyes Cruz for the Senior Advisory Committee, a 2-year term, and for Peggy M. Parra on the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging, as well as giving me the authorization to sign for the Area Agency on Aging representative. Is there any further discussion?
The only thing I would say is I would request that staff connect Peggy with our current VC AAA rep, who has served as chair also, just so that as she goes to her first meeting, she has the opportunity to be sort of briefed on the conversations that they've been having.
And I will do that. I'll reach out to her. Thank you.
And then, can I just mention something real
Sure,
quick?
of course.
Because I noticed this when I went to the website to kind of see the dynamics of the members of the committee. Could we ensure that anyone who has served on a committee, I know Jose Luis Melgar is still showing up on the website, that we acknowledge their service somehow? Because I know that he served on the commission on Measure T since its inception, and that's what, 10 years? Just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, please, can we make sure that happens? Thank you. And also, I just want to note, it was the will of the council to ask each member if they'd be willing to have their name put in to a list so that when openings on other committees appear, we can send them an invitation, and every one of them said absolutely yes. So that's always good to hear that, knowing there's a limited amount of positions, that they're willing to come back and sit through an interview process. So, okay, so with that.
Helpful to have that pool. So just to be clear, is the intention to identify past serving commissioners and have them listed somewhere within the committee descriptions? Or is it just to make sure that we have the current serving folks?
The current serving, I would say, but also as people exit, especially when they've served for so many years, that they get some sort of acknowledgement of that service, whether it's a certificate, a letter signed by the mayor, something that acknowledges that.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so there've been nominations for one person each for each of the categories. All in favor, say,
And after your nomination, you will appoint? because nominating is separate from appointment.
Oh, okay.
Can you add the word nominate and appoint, since it's all the same?
Okay, so they've been nominated, and then the vote is to nominate and appoint to the three committees that are listed. I'll repeat again: Brad Williams for the Administrative Oversight, Cynthia Reyes Cruz for the Senior Advisory Committee, and Peggy M. Parra on the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging. So there's been a moved in, or nominated in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Very good. Well, welcome three new people to these committees, and I'm sure staff will notify them, because we did tell them they didn't have to be present, but we would notify them, unless
Yes.
they're watching on TV.
They will all be notified, thank you.
So congratulations to them. So now we're done with item 11B. Oh, I'm sorry, no, we're going to 11B. We just finished with item 11A, appointment commissions and committees. We're now on action item 11B, consideration of amendments to the city's policy and legislative agenda, and those will be presented by Gloria Parra.
Okay, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Yes, I'm Gloria Parra. I'm an ACC Fellow in the City Manager's Office, and I'll be presenting the consideration of amendments to the city's policy and legislative agenda. So the ask, staff recommends that the council review and adopt the proposed amendments to the city's legislative platform related to unfunded mandates, federal immigration policy, and health and wellness infrastructure. Moving on to a brief overview. The policy and legislative agenda was last revised in July of last year. However, recent events impacting the city's immigrant population and with the tentative shutdown of the Santa Paula Hospital, these updates will reflect real community concerns. Staff met with the Ad Hoc Immigration Committee, Vice Mayor Crosswhite and Councilmember Ornelas to discuss immigration-related language. And we also met with Mayor Juarez and Councilmember Cornejo, who are active in county discussions related to the hospital, to discuss health services-related language. These updates show that the city is proactive instead of reactive when state and federal or county legislation affects Santa Paula. And it further strengthens alignment between our legislative platform and our community values. The main updates will fall under sections 1, revenue and taxation, 5, community services, and 7, public safety. So starting with unfunded mandates in section 1, under Part A of Local Government Finance. A14 would reaffirm our opposition to unfunded mandates, ensuring that the city is not burdened by state or federal policies without funding. This one emerged in a conversation with the Ad Hoc Committee on Immigration, where we noticed this general language was missing from the platform. And moving on to immigration more specifically, Section 5, under Part E, Family Services. E13 is a policy position that would support regional collaborations that enhance inclusion, safety and protection, access to services for the immigrant community and their families. Jumping to Section 7, Public Safety. A13 is an already existing position. However, we added explicitly immigration status under the protected categories, which would reinforce the city's commitment to public safety for all residents. A14 covers humane treatment and constitutional protections for this group, and it affirms our stance on civil rights protections and constitutional principles. A15 supports federal comprehensive immigration reform. I'd also like to note that there was a brief typo. We took out federal only and just left it as support federal legislation. This position encourages bipartisan federal solution when it comes to immigration procedures, and it supports due process, civil rights protections, and more generally pushes for increased federal transparency and accountability. A21 is a position that opposes deputizing local officials for federal immigration enforcement, and it makes our operational boundaries clear as a city. Next, moving on to health services. Under Part B, facilities of community services, As it stands, the current platform does not specifically address the hospital or how it should be reinvested if it were to close. But B2 would address that in the event that the hospital is closed or decommissioned, proceeds must be prioritized for reinvestment into replacement local health services. This would ensure that local assets continue to offer local benefits to residents. And it also points out that Highway 126 corridor is a notable area to establish this reinvestment and to increase accessibility to our health facilities in the area. And then jumping to under Section 5 still, Part E, Family Services. E14 would strengthen the healthcare safety net and local public health infrastructure to ensure timely, affordable, and high-quality care for Santa Paula and the greater region. E15 aims to grow the public health workforce development through local partnerships with education institutions, potentially creating career pathways that connects students at Santa Paula High School to higher education opportunities in the health sector. And E16 opposes future reductions to medical facilities and services in the area, which would, if such reductions were to occur, would compromise the health infrastructure that our community depends on. And so in sum, these amendments refine and strengthen the city's legislative platform to reflect evolving community needs, and staff respectfully recommends approval. Thank you. I'm ready for questions if needed.
Thank you, Gloria Parra. Questions for Gloria?
I'd like to review a couple
Yeah.
points in the slide, if
Sure.
you can go start at the beginning, if that's possible.
Yes.
So the unfunded mandates, I get the logic here. I think we can go a little bit further, especially because there's unfunded mandates that come directly from the state legislature or the governor's office, and then there's also mandates that are put upon us by the people voting for bond measures. We saw that with Proposition 1. The people voted for an investment in a switch between supporting Mental Health Services Act and transitioning that over to homeless populations. And so that came directly through the vote of the people through an election. I think we want to add a little bit more wording so that allows us some flexibility to also take positions on things that would be detrimental to us that come through all those different sources of those different systems, right? Whether it's the governor's office, the state legislature, or the ballot bond measures that happen all the time that people put on. Mr. Singer can speak about the bond measure that was going to be detrimental to all of the cities regarding the formula for taxation. And so I think it would make sense for us to also allow that flexibility for us to take positions and do some advocacy work, defining more where these mandates are coming from.
Does any language come to mind right now as you look at this slide, or would you like this to return?
A couple words, maybe, just of adding, yeah, maybe Vice Mayor can.
I have a question, though, on some of those things, like a bond measure. I would think that most of those would be things that we would probably want to officially take a position on, as opposed to just assuming that staff was going to have the mayor sign a letter or something. Like, I guess I'm wondering, yeah.
Just to add to that thought, actually, I think it needs to be a separate point, not a carryover of this, but it could be a separate point, because we're just basically saying with that, we just oppose unfunded mandates, don't even think about telling us what to do that costs us money without providing some source of revenue or money for that, funding for that. So it just seems like, I understand your point, but I think it could be an added bullet point. Or we're also talking about bonds earlier in the platform as well. So I don't know if you just even have a one line about that, as opposed to, it just seems like we're putting 2 points together if we add that to the unfunded mandate.
I'm down for adding another line that would specify what that would look like. We're defining.
Simply say oppose bond measures that impose financial burdens on local jurisdictions.
So leave that one intact and then add another line, oppose bonds that impose basically the same ending? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I think
Bond
it's important
measures.
to-
Bond measures that impose financial or operational budget burdens on the city.
So A15?
Right.
Okay,
Yep, A15.
will be added.
And if I could, Mr. Mayor, just respond to the Vice Mayor's comment.
Sure.
Because I think it's an important one, but keeping in mind, and we take a lot of direction from the League of Cities, that when there are bond measures, it is often the case that the city council may be asked to take a formal position of opposition or support. This wouldn't preclude that from happening, but at earlier stages allows us to be more proactive. So I don't think it's an either-or scenario.
Okay, I guess my point being that unless it was abundantly clear, I would think that if we were going to have an official position on something that was on a ballot, as opposed to, I think it's one thing if it's going to our legislators saying, based on a legislative platform, here's a letter of support or opposition for a bill, but I feel like if it's an official position on, say, a bond measure, I would think that most of the time, other than working with the league or other things, I would think that at some point that would need to come regardless to council if we were going to be taking a position on a bond, I guess is what I was trying to.
Well, I think at some point in our platform, it also says that if anything becomes political, it comes to council. If there's two opposing sides and it could be a dispute even amongst us or the people that we have the opportunity before a letter would go out.
You have enough to create an A15?
Yeah, I understood to just replace kind of the first part, oppose bond measures that impose financial and operational burdens on the city.
Or and include detrimental impact on the residents of the,
Okay.
because there's a trickle-down effect that takes place. I don't have anything on this slide after this one.
So you want to go to the next slide?
Yeah.
Next slide, please, Gloria.
So as a reminder, A13 is already existing, and it just adds the red words.
And it's protected legal class, correct, federally? Already? It's already a protected class, immigration status.
I was going to ask that.
I-
Are we creating one, or does one exist?
It might not be a protected class. I'd have to look, because it would be different under California law versus federal law. For example, sexual orientation gets intermediate protections under California law, but under federal law, it gets the higher protection that's permitted for classes. So I would have to research to confirm whether or not immigration status is protected under California or federal law.
But isn't that point just saying that we don't think that we think that they should have the ability to live free from violence and intimidation? Is all that's saying? It's not saying that we're necessarily
Yes,
preempting.
it's a general policy statement that
That was
city's
my
going to support
question,
that
was
status.
not to remove it because it's not a protected class. I'm just wondering if it is a legally protected class. I think you started to allude to that question. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't know that national origin is a protected class. I don't think it is. So I think, there are some things in there that aren't, but I was just curious if that actually is a protected class or not. So, but I'm fine with the correction or the addition.
And it's not necessarily tied to public safety, but it's a protected class under the Civil Rights Act for discrimination. But it's not a federally protected status.
Entity, right,
entity.
status, yeah.
But we agree that in this case, it's something that every resident, no matter whether they're documented or undocumented, should have some basic human civility when being treated in terms of public safety.
And then I do have a question on 14. Again, talking about, I never want to exclude anyone or carve out anyone, because I feel that the protection should be for everyone. On A14, do we refer anywhere else in our platform that we are safeguarding humane treatment of all of our community and upholding all constitutional rights of everyone? Because you could say that, including those mentioned in A13. Again, if we carve out one section, have we mentioned elsewhere the protection of everyone else?
Thoughts from anyone else?
So just, I didn't look, but I just, that
I under-
question occurred to me.
Yeah, I understand the point you're making in trying to be equitable to everyone, but this moment in history, just like every moment in history, every generation has had to go through their individual struggle. Women were considered property at one point. Then you had, slavery, you had the fight for equality. So now, right now, what's at the forefront, why this, I think, is being brought up, is because there's a segment of the community that's being targeted in particular. And so it's always going to be evolving. If anything we learn from history, there's always going to be some sort of scapegoat. So in this case, we're highlighting that this is a community that's being targeted currently, and we want to send a message that people understand that they should be treated humanely. Everyone should be, but in this case, we're seeing one specific community being targeted.
Could we not include then, along with all of the other residents of our community, so that we're not excluding anyone? That I just don't want to single out that they should, that we're concerned about them, absolutely. But are we not concerned about impoverished people or people that are not living in safe conditions or may feel targeted for other reasons? I don't want them to be excluded either. So I think long-term on these things, politically, we may, I know this is a very present issue now, but I'd like to have a document that's thoughtful about everyone and not, and so I would not exclude, I wouldn't take out, that's what I'm meaning on
Could we
all of these. Add.
And marginalized communities, because that can be any community that's being targeted at that moment in time.
Well, I'm thinking the tagline at the end is just as enjoined by all other residents in our community.
Yeah, right.
See, because then you're starting with the people of immigrant status, and then you're reaching out to everyone else, inclusive.
Right, I would like to hear, I don't mind them being specifically mentioned so that they're not excluded, but I don't want to exclude others by the definition, so.
We could even add, like, support legislation and efforts that safeguard human treatment of all residents and uphold their, or of all residents, including immigrant communities, and uphold their.
Yes.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah, that's.
Either before or
To me, I
after.
just never want to have anyone feel slighted in our efforts to take care of others. I want everyone to be cared for, so.
Can you read that again?
Yeah.
Yes, support legislation and efforts that safeguard human treatment of all residents, including immigrant communities, comma, and uphold their constitutional rights.
What's the comma?
Sorry, I had to pause for the comma.
Or
I don't know
ensure,
if-
not sure what.
I don't know if
And
especially.
all Santa Paula residents and uphold their constitutional rights.
You know, I don't want to get too nitpicky, but what if you have a visitor who's not a resident? So just,
Well, they could be working here, right?
Yeah.
They could be living in Oxnard.
yeah.
I think it's just the flow of the words, the intent is fine. Their treatment,
That safeguard humane treatment of all people, including immigrant communities,
There you
and
go.
uphold their constitutional rights.
There you go.
People.
So we want everybody.
Right.
Right now, we understand.
all
the-
community members are all, yeah. In our interest in making sure we're taking care of one, I don't want to overlook all. That's the whole point.
Understood. So of all people, including immigrant communities.
Yep.
Okay.
And then uphold everyone's constitutional rights.
Okay,
I think adding that word everyone to that
Yeah.
would bridge it.
yeah.
And that helps us all realize we're all a community, looking after each other too, so.
While still keeping the emphasis on the immigrant
Right,
communities.
right.
Next slide.
Let's see, I'm sort of lost.
So I just have a question. I hope you can answer it, Ms. Castillo. I don't know what the word bipartisan means anymore. Is it one person that votes with the majority? Is it two? How do you define that anymore? Because we've had the impacts of HR 1, for example, were voted by just one group, right? So nobody from the other party voted for it. And they're gutting our healthcare system. That's going to impact our hospital and a trickle-down effect. So what do we consider bipartisan? Is it two people from the party or four? Or is it just one? Just one person has to jump to the other side? Because we're seeing that right now, and it's very narrowly defined currently in the House, for instance. So just help me understand what bipartisan would mean.
We could just
or
say
define that.
cooperation and just not call out bipartisan. You know, I'd like to stay as non-political as we can on this.
And we were trying to be non-political
I-
by calling it bipartisan.
That's what I was gonna say.
So I don't
That's why
care if
it's
you
in
want to
there.
change or take it out. The point was to try to get to comprehensive immigration reform.
You could just take
Can
it
we go
out.
rid of it?
So
Just take it out.
we're fine if you take it out. We just, again, we were trying to anticipate it being inclusive of all and everybody working together towards the goal, but we are happy to take it out.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
it flows good without it, so.
If I could comment, personally, I think this is like the most important statement that we're making, because, and this is my mini speech, and then I'll be done. I believe that we are all locally being asked to duke it out and fight with each other when the responsibility lays with the legislators to fix the problem. And lacking that, we're fighting on, we're calling each other out, we're fighting with each other, because this problem is very difficult, and the legislators they're not addressing it. They're choosing up sides and fighting with each other as well. That's my opinion of what's going on. And so I really feel this is important, that I feel like when we have problems or we're approached, how do we deal with this? Well, this needs to go to the legislator. They're the ones who can fix this. We can't pass local laws that are going to affect the big problem. It needs to start from there. And if you'll indulge me, sorry, that might make us go longer. I'll tell you one story about that, not about immigration, but when I was on the board at the fairgrounds, and we fought for 2 years about the policy on gun shows. 2 years. Public comment out the door, the room split in half, the community and the county is split on this 50-50 on how to handle gun shows. And even legislators would come to us and speak to us, encouraging us to make statements, encouraging us to, either make sure we had the shows or make sure we didn't have the shows. And our response as a board for 2 years was, you're the legislators. We are just following the law. Fix the law, we will obey the law. And then finally, a couple years later, the legislature did pass a law that settled that question so that we knew what we could do legally. We weren't putting ourselves at risk by taking stands or taking actions that we don't necessarily have the laws for, the legal backing for, which puts us at a risk. So to me, again, just for that whole story, we need for them to work on this. And that's where I feel like it's really important not only to put this in our platform, but we be talking to all of our legislators at every turn and say, you need to work on this. We need legitimate status for people to come and work. We need legitimate status so people aren't living in the shadows or fearful. And so, to me, this is just really important, and I commend you for putting that in. So I appreciate that. So I get emotional. This is very important to me, but I'm very glad it's there. Thank you.
Next slider.
No, just to add a little story.
Story time.
many families in our community obtain amnesty under Reagan. I was on Capitol Hill when George Bush introduced immigration reform. There's been attempts over time, but it's the willingness of people, even if they're on opposite sides of the political spectrum, to really see this as a human issue and see how to be pragmatic about addressing it. We need people to work, right? There's also a cause and effect when we go into global markets and we impact the world, and that impacts people's migration to places like the United States. We're at such a precipice because of all the inaction that has taken place. And I agree with you that we need to advocate and push even harder right now because it's such at a critical, it's gone over the edge. And so I hope that this would allow us a little bit more flexibility to be stronger advocates on this issue, being that we understand the value of the immigrant communities. And we also understand the law, and we also understand that there is common ground when it comes, I don't think anyone will debate that someone that's breaking the law and committing heinous crime shouldn't be here. But it's gone over the edge, and I think this, and again, thank you to the committee for their work on addressing this, because I know this council looks at things from a perspective of what's the right thing to do for people. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, any other edits or, I don't have a story.
Maybe the next slide.
She heard about the committee.
That was it, right?
Unless there were.
The Santa Paula Hospital, can we revisit that real quick?
Or did you have something on the
Back to 21.
Yeah.
My only question on this is, I didn't have a chance to ask law enforcement if they have an opinion about that. I don't, as it stands, I don't have a problem with this, but I just was wondering if that creates an issue for our law enforcement. Is he here? There you are.
So if the federal government basically deputizes you as a federal agent to work on their behalf on immigration enforcement, what is your position on that?
What does that mean back
The question-
in practicality?
Yeah, the question is, if we put it in there that we oppose you having to act as an ICE agent, do you have a problem with us opposing that? That's the question.
Oh, thank you, counsel. No, I don't, and I don't know of any circumstances where that situation has happened, other than investigators being deputized not to do immigration, but other services for the federal government, so not immigration related. So, no, I'm not opposed to your comment.
And you say that, Mr. Chief, because you've seen that the federal government has pulled people from other agencies to conduct work that really isn't in their scope, right?
They've pulled resources from other federal agencies to do immigration work in some form or another. So we've been told that by some of the other members of the federal agencies who have come and spoke to us.
Okay, I just wanted your take on it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. All right, so with that, any other discussion, comments, or questions for Gloria?
Not on immigration.
Oh,
No,
you
I
want to
think
go
we
back
were
to the
going to
hospital?
just look real quick at the healthcare ones.
The hospital, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Support legislation in the event the hospital is closed or decommissioned, ensuring any proceeds. Would that be through a legislative process? Or that would be controlled by policy made by the Board of Supervisors?
Yes.
Because it's not legislation. It's
Right, maybe it should say policy instead of.
Policy is a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess in addition to that, I do support, and I think we should support legislation at the federal level so that spaces like our hospital and our community would be categorized through an exception and considered a rural. Because there's rules at the federal level that clearly define that rural would mean that you have to have a certain distance of time. in terms of location from one place to another, it doesn't take into consideration the time it takes you to get there. So I know that at the federal level, some members of Congress were working on creating either an exception or a redefinition of who qualifies for federal funding for rural hospitals. Because if it's going to take you more than a certain amount of time, you know, that should be put into the equation versus just being about distance.
Go ahead.
That didn't come up in our discussion, but it's a very good point, and I would just ask that be a separate point.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that.
Did you want to try to wordsmith that now, or would support federal and local legislation suffice?
Support federal, it's federal.
Federal and local legislation.
No,
Policy.
yeah, the top one, the only thing that we were changing is just support policy that.
Correct.
Oh, got it, okay.
But then,
Okay,
Support legislation, and I would say at all levels, because there could be a trickle-down effect
okay.
regarding the consideration that our hospital be considered rural so that we qualify for federal assistance.
That would be particularly since the hospital or health services we don't know if we're talking hospital. We are serving this entire valley. So with that connectivity out to the rest of the rural valley, not sure. Gloria's really good at wordsmithing, but I think
Oh, are you alluding to like referencing instead of hospital, but like health services, like facilities, or like?
yes. yeah.
Okay.
We were trying to stay away from hospital
Yeah.
because we can get caught up on that, on hospital, and we may not end up with a hospital per se. We still need medical facilities and services. So,
but doesn't rural hospital designation
There is-
mean hospital, or does it also mean the other things?
On the federal level, the designation is
it's for
hospital.
hospital? Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
for that,
really rural
have-
versus non.
Okay, so for that, then you should include hospital for that.
Because they're trying to change the definition to
Yeah.
allow exemptions.
Yeah, you're correct.
For spaces like, we're an example, it might take you longer to get somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And you're serving a rural community, if you look at the ends
serve
of
all the way out,
where
yeah.
the service area is.
You're correct on that,
resides.
yeah.
And then there's one after this, right?
Yes. So to be clear on that one that we're adding, so it'd be support legislation that continues to classify the Santa Paula Hospital as rural.
Or that would allow the Santa Paula Hospital to be classified as
As
rural?
well, to attract funding necessary for sustainability.
Okay.
Because we don't qualify.
Yeah.
Correct.
Got it.
Not under their standards. You have to be like a certain amount of miles.
Rural adjacent term?
Again, I think some of this stuff, because the decision ultimately falls under the Board of Supervisors, we have to call it where it is. So in this sense, policy set by county officials, whatever that, I think we need to be clear and intentional about, hey, this is a decision that this Board of Supervisors has to make regarding these things, and we need to make sure we advocate for these things.
Could we just do like we did in
Yeah.
point 16 and do legislation or policy? So that way it could apply to federal policy, but then, sorry, federal legislation, but then also to Board of Supervisor policy.
So would that also apply to 16 opposed legislation? Oh, it does say it already, sorry.
That one has policy.
Yeah,
Sorry,
finally got it.
that one's in there.
Good.
Anything else? All right, so the question now is, two items for approval of this, or do we feel comfortable with moving these items with the proposed amendments or changes, or would you like to have them come back for
I'd like to make a motion to approve with the proposed amendments. I think we have sufficient information, and you have the recording to look at what the intent of
Okay.
the spirit behind what we've said regarding these issues.
Very good.
I'd second that.
Thank you. So it's moved by Councilmember Chavez and seconded by Councilmember Cornejo. Any further discussion?
I just want to also thank the committee of Mayor Juarez and Councilmember Cornejo that worked on the health language. So I very much appreciate that.
I would comment as well, it was good to hear from public speaker Marianne Krause, who's been involved in this for a very long time, who was very pleased with a lot of the changes as well. And so knowing that, that input is helpful as well. So thank you.
And we should give credit where credit's due. Thank you, Gloria Parra, for your help work with us and our deputy city manager, Amina, Dr. Myers. Thank you for helping us walk us through this as well. And again, thank you to your committee as well. You spend a lot of time, and I hope Councilmember Nellis is watching us on TV and realizing that her work is not unnoticed, and thank you very much so.
And the research that Gloria and Dr. Mears did was very helpful as well.
Very good.
It's an amazing team, and these are very delicate issues, and we want to get them right for everyone, so for the whole community. So I really appreciate all efforts by everyone here.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor that's been moved and seconded. No more discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, very good. That item passes. We move on to item number 12, items for future agenda. Future agenda items, Mr. City Manager?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the only thing I would just, bless you, point out is that we will have need for a study session again in a couple of weeks to focus on council recognition policies, and very likely for the next few months, we'll have study sessions lined up. There's a lot of topics that it's really just helpful for us to have the added time with you on particular topics, so.
And I know that, some people don't like long meetings, but if there's something we can move into a council meeting versus breaking up other people that still have to work days, that would be great. All right. All right, so with that, I do want to adjourn this meeting of the regular city council Wednesday, February 18th, on behalf of the entire city council, in memory of the newborn infant son of police officer Wyatt Gates and his wife Bailey. His name was Dawson Allen Gates. With that, we adjourn at 8:55.